font. But before that, let me give you a little background, something to expect going forward. So this is my portfolio. You'll be doing that next, either this spring or next spring after. You'll be designing this, and this is kind of what you have to look forward to. So this is my website. I just want to give you an overview of some of my projects. So you have to do 8 different campaigns. They're kind of up to you, and it can be pretty much anything you want it to be. So I'll just walk you through, show you each one offhand, and then I'll go a little more in depth into each one. So I designed a series of book covers. I think you do that in graphic design too. I did an artist branding. The typeface, which you designed here, is made it into my portfolio. I did a print ad campaign, a hang tag design from this class as well. Multi-page layout. We got to work with Joe Van Gogh in Durham this past spring, and we got to propose a redesign, branding redesign for that company. And then lastly, I have a podcast art design. So for my book cover series, I did 3 book covers for Ernest Hemingway. And basically what I did was I took 3 stories, and each story, well, actually I have a video to describe my working process. So these are the final 3 books that I designed. And here's a short little clip to describe. How do you turn this down?
There's a...
So it's good to show, I guess to think about when you're building your portfolio, especially your online portfolio, is to show the kind of skills that you have. So if you're a photographer, photograph your material, try to incorporate maybe photography that you've taken into mock-ups that you make. Photograph, if you're able to print anything, print it off, photograph it, set it up, just to show your skills. I have an interest in stop motion and videography and stuff like that, so I thought I'd try to find ways to bring that in, and plus it's a good selling point to future employers. So this is just my working process as well. I basically just showing the setup, what I did, just again to give them a little context of why I've gone out of the way to show why I picked this campaign to represent myself. Just mock-ups. So this is an artist branding I did. This is for a local potter. So it was all about creating a logo, creating collateral, and one thing that was kind of special to her was that she had a potter stamp, and that was kind of the genesis for the whole idea, and the whole branding idea. So in this first image you see there's a, so that is, I had that made, it's about a 1-inch square. So you have to think, so in terms of logo design, you have to think something that will work both at 1 inch, maybe at 100 inches. So designing something that's versatile, it shows that you're versatile. So again, all these photographs I took, everything I printed, everything I had printed. So again, it's just showing you not only can I design something, but I can sell it as well. And variety of what I'm able to produce. So you see there's a thank you card, business cards, hang tags, wrap card in the studio. So these are several photos that I added in addition to showing the work that I've done, just to say like, So she can use it for her own branding. So if she wants to create an Etsy page, say, she has photographs, a source of photographs that she can go to and upload, and she doesn't have to do it herself because I did it. So again, it's a way of providing something for her to use as well as showcasing the skills that the graphic designer, has. So here's the typeface, which I will get into shortly. So this just shows my working process for this. Provides a little scale, a little background of how I came up with the font, what it looks like, proof that I designed it, that I used skills that I've had before that I can apply to this. So this is a spec sheet. So if you go on like Creative Market or My Fonts or something like that, you'll see something like this to promote and sell your font. So I just put it here in full. It just shows you. I'll show this a little more later on, but I'm just giving you a quick overview. Again, just working method. So this is a print ad campaign. It was from I think you had to redesign an old print ad in Design Applications 1, I think, or 2. Anyways, so this turned into a full print ad campaign for a lipstick company. And the genesis of the idea was behind this collage idea of, basically collaging different colors on top of photographs of models. So it turned into a Pick Your Bouquet. The company I came up with, Bouquet Lipstick. I designed the logo, and so that idea basically turned into a Pick Your Bouquet, pick your lipstick choice, and the lipstick matches is in line with the flowers, and each lipstick is named for the flowers which appear in each print ad campaign. So it's just showing you more of the method I used to create it, and then finally mock-ups. So just finding different ways of, it can appear in a magazine, but where else? Where beyond that can it go? It could go on a billboard, it could go on a bus stop. So trying to think about how can I make it more than just a one-trick pony? How can I take it and then take it a little further and show shows my thinking and my thinking for them that yes, this is a great design in print, but it can also be used as a kiosk in a mall, or it can also be used on a bus stop. Okay. So I don't know if you've done this yet.
The project kind of changed.
Oh.
So we did a rebrand for Granimals, and they did 3 character illustrations of animals that were a little less dimensional than what you guys did for the one. This project was for an endangered species, and the sale of a stuffed animal of the species, partially the proceeds would go to the World Wildlife Fund.
So this is basically what I've designed. The bird is called the kakapo, and it is a bird that's endemic to New Zealand. It's a small flightless parrot, small flightless nocturnal parrot. It's a wonderful thing. And so it has these kind of bushy, the animal itself has these kind of like bushy, like, I think of like 18th century general, like sideburns, So that's kind of what I tried to play up in the illustration. So this is the hang tag design. It's, I think, 3 by 4 inches. So again, showing you the design of the hang tag and then the application of it. So I actually went out and found one. These were very hard to find. And I printed off a tiny one just to make it look bigger than it is. And so I was able to photograph this and print this off just to show it in context. This was the pattern. We had to design a pattern that was from the place where the animal was from. And then these show my design, the final design for the bird, plus the ideation behind it, so my creative process in designing the bird. And it's good. I think a lot of people instead of seeing the final product, it seems that more employers want to see how you arrived at that final product. So it's important to find some way or a campaign or to think about finding something to show your design process. And this was the way for me. This was the one for me. So you see, I started with the face, then I moved on to designing the body, and then I combined the two. You can see down here, and that was the final illustration, which I then took into Illustrator for that. And then that's a detailed version, close up. So this was a cookbook I designed, and again, this shows my illustration and drawing skills, as well as a layout skills for a multi-page layout, which I think you have. It's required in your portfolios. So this was something I enjoyed doing, so I thought it made sense to me to kind of take the idea and expand upon it. So it was a cookbook, mock-ups. Mock-ups are really important and useful, especially for the multi-page layout. So these kind of all speak to me. So it's really fun to do. I was able to show my illustration skills. So with the hang tag, I was able to show my digital illustration skills, and with this, I'm able to show my hand illustration skills. So it shows a little variety, even though they are slightly similar, they're still different enough to show I can both work on computer and on paper. Illustration. And these are recipes that kind of inspired the design of the cookbook. So these are my grandmother's recipes, and they're on paper about yay big. And I thought it was a great way, if I drug by showing, I was able to take them and put them on the cover of the book. So I thought it was a great way to stick with the character of the entire print thing and to show. And it's just that extra little touch that makes it professional, I think. It takes it beyond just something that has to be done into something you want to do, and it gives it that little professional edge that I think people appreciate. So this was a very in-depth project that we had to do. This was designing for Joe Van Gogh. So everything we had to, it was pretty involved. We had to redesign the logo. We picked a new color palette, designed a signature pattern, which is down there, packaging, and then a lot of mock-ups to demonstrate the work, how the work that we've done could be seen. This is a slideshow. We had to this all culminated in a presentation to the owner and the creative director, and this is the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation that I presented. So it's kind of long, so I won't play that for you. In addition to designing all this stuff, I went a little bit beyond. And using the skills that I gained in this class, I designed another font for them. So it's called Geode, and it was basically what the logo is made from. And it kind of, the genesis of the whole design idea was the circle, so I thought of as many ways as I could use circles as possible. And so Geode came from that. It's a circular font. And yeah, it was a way to sell them on my idea, saying that you would have exclusive use of this font. And it's because their whole brief was basically, we don't want to be unique, we want to stand out from the rest of the crowd. So I was like, well, if you have a font that no one else can access, that's a pretty unique way of selling yourself. So this is the signature pattern which I designed, packaging, specific packaging, kind of technical layout of it, and then mock-ups, because it's kind of hard to envision that in your mind. So this just gives you a way of saying, oh, I see what they're thinking. So providing as much context as you can is a good way of showing that you're thinking a design all the way through. And then lastly was a bunch of mock-ups, just saying, showing how versatile your design can be. So again, it shows that you can think. You can think critically, and you can take an idea and you can see it through to its very end. So that means how many ways can I use this one idea? And yeah, so it just shows you versatility and your thinking skills. And then the last one was kind of a freewheeler for me. So we had to do a spontaneous poster, I think in graphic design too. And so from that, I came up with, I basically turned that into a podcast art design. So I'll play a little snippet of this video because it's kind of, the concept was based on like 1920s or 30s radio plays. So I turned that into a podcast, and it's in 10 chapters. And this just sets the mood.
I like how the words "the future" were the last verb.
Yes. So again, this was how do I make something kind of boring in the sense of I have to basically set up my design idea. How do I do that in an interesting way that also evokes the mood and tells the story, or helps better tell the story? So that was what I thought up, and I think you have a multimedia course that you will also be taking, and so I used the skills from that to set up the shot, take the shot, edit, compile the sound effects and all that stuff. So these are just the different episodes. This is the title card for the piece, or for the podcast. So it's kind of the thing like when you go on Spotify or whatever other podcast things you go on. That's the thing that you'll see. Basically, how I did this was that I went and I photographed each thing individually. So I photographed that everything individually down to the type, and then I went and I cut them out, and then I placed them all on one board, art board. So it shows both my photography skills and my Photoshop skills, and because the design is pretty spontaneous. The design of this was really spontaneous because it was basically whatever I could find where I was, made it into it. So it was thinking critically, it was thinking spontaneously, and it was compositing images with Photoshop. So these are just three of the 10 podcasts. title designs.
Cameron lives on a farm. Did he mention that?
Oh, yes. I live,
So these things are just lying around.
yeah, all this stuff is, chilling out. So mock-ups showing it, how a person would interact with it. All right, and that is me. So this is basically the layout of your online portfolio. I also have my resume, a little bit about me. This should open. Ta-da. About me. I painted that. So it's just, thank you. So it's a way of, again, describing me. I thought a painting would better describe me than a photograph, so that's what I did. And contacts. So again, over here on the left-hand side on the menu bar, I have all my social media links, but I also have a contact page, just if you want to send me a message, that's how you do it. And if you want to follow me or anything like that, get in contact with me on any other social media platform, you can do so there. So that's kind of what you have to look forward to, portfolio. It's a lot of fun, a lot of work. It's really the thing that kind of you get to make your own. So by this point, you basically take what's been given to you, your year and a half you've been here, and you can kind of, it gives you the ultimate kind of creative freedom to take it and expand upon it and make it your own. How do you want to market yourself going forward? What do you want to interest yourself in? That kind of thing.